Now that you have a model for designing and implementing systems change, let's apply it to a real-life case. Here's the challenge. In Banka district, Nepal, community members were receiving poor public services, including education and healthcare. The local government bodies, called the Village Development Committees or VDCs, were responsible for coordinating public services provided by other government agencies, NGOs, and businesses. VDCs were also responsible for organizing the annual budgeting process. But VDCs had little training and they were often pressured by major political parties to channel public funds towards their preferred projects, ignoring the needs of marginalized citizens. Let's take a quick journey through design and implementation cycle to see how the district landed on a systems intervention that might work for them. Okay, what's your first priority? That's right, listen to the system. The leaders of the Nepal program held listening tours with system actors, including VDC members, service providers, and citizens of Banka. Through one-on-one interviews and multi-stakeholder meetings, community members shared how it feels when they access services through government offices, clinics, and schools. What else do you think they did to listen in Nepal? Yeah, they mapped the system through relationship surveys. Okay, so once you have a map and a feedback data, do you remember what you do next? Organize a dialogue to understand the current system using the 5 R's. For example, in the current system in Banka, community members didn't understand the roles and the duties of the VDCs or other government service providers. There was a bank of transparency about how financial resources were allocated, and informal rules that dictate caste and class structures played a prominent role in service delivery. The listening tours revealed relationships were low in trust and little accountability. The system wasn't producing its desired result. By the end of the listen phase, actors had deep understanding of the system. So what's next in this cycle? You got it! Engage! The Nepal team brought system actors back together to create a vision for the future. They worked through the 4 actions framework to understand the changes that needed to take place, and they used the 5 R's, of course. Here are some of the changes they proposed. Create ways to facilitate the flow of feedback between community members, VDC, and service providers. Reduce the influence political parties in deciding how to allocate resources. Raise the information available about the budgeting process and service delivery, and eliminate discrimination based on the caste and class. Wow! Are you interested to see what interventions they proposed? Well, as part of a lengthy brainstorming process, they identified these 3 interventions. First, a pact was created that established a common commitment between service providers and citizens. Second, progress on the pact was tracked using anonymous surveys completed by citizens and service providers. And third, quarterly meetings were held to discuss the feedback and to address concerns. Do you think those interventions help strengthen the system? Well, how do we find out? That's right, the discover phase. They used listening tours to learn how the system was responding, and they observed how the relationship changed using the system map. Let's look at those system maps. Here is a map of program area, one created during the listen phase, and here is a map for the same area from the discover phase 6 months later. Do you notice any significant changes? Well, in the first, there are a few links between actors, and the VDC played a central role as the only resource hub. Looking at this map, almost every actor in the system relied on the VDC. In the second map, you will see additional links between actors, so they weren't relying exclusively on the VDC. Now, look at another VDC area. Here's the map created during the listen phase, and this is the discover phase. What do you notice about the difference between the two? How does the new system in Program Area 2 compare to the new system in Program Area 1? I'm sure you noticed right away how the two systems responded very differently. In Area 1, there are increased links and you see more signs of local NGOs and businesses engaging alongside government. But Program Area 2 seems, well, stuck. The VDC still plays a very central role there. This was the puzzle that actors tried to solve together during the discover phase. Why were the effects of the intervention so different between two communities? Through feedback discussions with actors, they learned that system rules of caste and class were deeply entrenched. These informal rules prevented groups from collaborating and working together to deliver services. What do you think this tells us about the intervention? Well, in hindsight, it became clear it was too narrowly focused on the two of the 5 R's, roles and relationships. So what did they do? Adapt. In Nepal, they reconvened actors and focused their conversations on ways to tackle rules. Do you remember what tool you can use to facilitate this conversation? That's right, the 4 actions. System actors in Nepal used it to come up with this list. Raise the frequency of feedback collection, raise awareness of the positive results in successful communities, reduce the impact of informal rules through workshops and community conversations, create momentum for positive change by focusing on the most successful pilot communities before expanding, and eliminate areas that didn't demonstrate full support for the intervention. What do you think they decided to do? They agreed that feedback cycles should be shortened and to discuss results more frequent. They also acknowledged that until at least one community could show concrete evidence of positive changes, it would be nearly impossible to influence entrenched cultural norms. They agreed to focus on a few VDCs before moving to more challenging communities. Of course, they knew that they would continue to revise and adapt their intervention through discovery, including feedback and system mapping. Guess what? You just experienced the system strengthening cycle from start to finish.